The Book of Honey, by Isadora Rochas, Chapter 9, Warning Me, December 17, 2029, William, crossing Rovers Street. The pub was nestled in between the High Street and Kensington. The one I was aiming for is at the very end. Maggie's Place was on the sign. It says rustic farm-style food and pub. I hold the door open for Honey. Music and noise spill out of the door. The clapping and laughing. We entered the downstairs bar. There were groups of people watching a football match on TVs littered around the different tables. When I say to Honey, the upstairs is where they serve food and put on shows, Honey nods and head up the steps. Maggie's Place is an old wooden pub. It was old, dark, and shabby. The floors were wood planks. If you look closely enough, you'll see that the bar and all the tables were made from the same wood. Walls had golden-aged wood panels, and every inch had photos, paintings, and artwork that depicted the English countryside and farms. It should have been musty-smelling except overhead were baskets filled with dried herbs. Rosemary, lavender, heather, and many country flowers made it smell like a country home. We get to the top of the stairs and a hostess is waiting with a smile. I can't help myself from matching her smile, turning on my people-pleasing attitude. Welcome to Maggie's Place. I'm Gurney. I will be your server for this evening. Gurney is a red-haired middle-aged looking woman, wearing jeans and a yellow t-shirt that read Maggie's Place. Gurney looks at Honey and then at me. When her eyes land on me, they go from my face to my feet and back. Inwardly I sigh when her posture changes from server to person of interest. She asked me, "Where would you like to have a seat?" I greet her. "Good evening, table for two somewhere in a corner booth would be lovely." She then looks Honey up and down. Honey still has her mask and hood on, with her hands in her hoodie pockets, a small knapsack on her back. I guessed that Gurney was sizing up Honey to see what her chances at me were. She seemed to be making up her mind. When Honey says to her, "Are you going to seat us or not?" she blinked at Honey's sharp tone, the very one that had ripped at me earlier. Wasn't so bad when it was aimed at someone else. Gurney says very slowly, "Oh, yes, this way." Gurney led us to a booth in the back corner. Honey sits across me with a view of the door. Gurney hands us menus and asks us, "What can I get you to drink?" Honey flips to the drinks and then says, "I'll take the herbal tea winter spice." I thought I could use a good cup of tea. So, I say, "Make that 2 cups and bring us a whole pot so we can serve ourselves while we make up our minds." "Thank you kindly." Gurney smiles at me. "Sure thing, be right back." God, her tone made me cringe just a little, meaning she wasn't going to stop till she has at least slipped me her number. I sigh to myself as I look at the list of dishes. I was starving and hadn't eaten since lunch, and that was questionably small. After a bit, Gurney comes back with 2 cups and a pot of very fragrant and spicy-smelling tea. I ask Honey, "Are you ready to order?" She says, "Yes." Then I ask Honey, "Would you mind if we order family style, so we can have a bit of everything?" Honey rolls her eyes up and to the right. Not like the sarcastic roll, this one was like she was taking her time thinking. That would be fine with me. Honey orders a whole Sunday roast and 3 roasted root veggies, a very large garden salad, and a shepherd's pie. I order a huge plate of Yorkshire puddings, fried veggies, Cornish pasties, mashed potatoes and mushroom gravy, a steak, and kidney pie, as well as a pot of beans. Gurney raised an eyebrow at the both of us, but what can she say? She walks away with our order and our menus. I start fixing my tea with sugar and a bit of milk. When I'm about to sip from the cup, Honey takes off her hoodie and her mask. I admit I'm stunned still for a moment. This is the closest I've been to her when she was uncovered. Honey's hair was smashing like nothing I had ever seen, or thought could be done in real life. Honey-colored blonde mohawk, shaved undercuts on the sides of her head, separated by braids, that goes back into her longer hair. The center of her head was parted, to the front and the back, framing the side of her face and going back to the center of her head down her neck. I noticed that her hair and her eyes matched. I wondered if she wears contacts. Honey rolled her eyes and shakes her head when I say, "What is it?" She says, "William, you're leaning forward." I look down with my teacup still in my hand, elbows on the table, leaning in to get a better look. I straightened up and put down my cup. "I'm sorry, I was just..." Honey cuts me off. Yeah, get an eye full now, I'm gone in 2 days." I say to her, "I wasn't trying to be rude." Honey gives me one of those looking glances. Without the mask made no difference. I still could not read what her expression was trying to see. Then she says to me, "I believe you, William." Her tone was straightforward and sincere. Honey takes a drink of her tea, lets out a sigh of pleasure as the warm tea hits her. I didn't like the long silence from before, so I say, "Are you feeling better?" She leans back and looks around the room. Then back to me, she says, "I will be fine, don't worry about me." I tell her without thinking. Too bad that happens to be my job now. That got a slight twitch out of her. She takes a deep breath and stills herself to be unflinching once more. Staring at me with her amber eyes was uncomfortable. It was like all the things I usually did to hide my flaws and insecurities were thrown out the door. Honey gave me nowhere to go, looking into my cup of tea, getting lost in that thought. I don't know why I've done this to myself. I wanted to see if there was something I could do for her. Now I'm stuck in this place with someone that sees far more of me than I care for. She gives nothing away about herself, or what she wants. I've never met someone I couldn't find a way into. What is worse is that she peers through me. I feel like there is nowhere for me to hide. She has already questioned my capabilities and skills. I was tired, hungry, and uncomfortable with my lack of understanding of the task I was given. So badly that the person I was meant to help risked herself getting shot to come and explain it to me. Round and round I go in these thoughts when I hear someone distantly calling my name. "William, William, William." Then out of nowhere, a spot of pain hits me between the brows. When I look up, I am shocked backward in my seat. At some point while I was lost in thought, Honey had stood up and placed a knee on the table to get close enough to flick me in between the eyes. A pair of amber eyes with a pissed-off look when I react. What the hell was that for? Then she tells me as she points into my face while still on top of the table. "I have no time to spend on hopeless people, so stop looking so lost like you're trapped with nowhere to go." I try to tell her I wasn't doing anything. She cut me off. "You can't make it over my brick wall, William, and I will not give you the chance. It's a waste of your time to try, but I didn't think someone Bruce Beck personally recommended to me would quit so easily." I asked, surprised. "Did he?" She sat back down in her seat. "He had nothing but praise to throw your way. I'm feeling kind of disappointed in you." Suddenly, a very pissed-off feeling came bubbling up to the surface, and I did something I never do. Respond irrationally and emotionally out loud without thinking. You know absolutely nothing about me and what I am capable of. I know that I am having a slow start with this work. I am the most capable person you will meet on this island to do this job, and work with Bruce Beck. I'll tell you, many respect that man. Very few people in our field of work will work with his bizarre methods and outdated ways. I am neither stupid nor slow. Not everyone can be a mad fucking genius as you seem to be. I've been taking my time with it for 3 fucking days. I admit I went off on her a bit. At some point, she covered her mouth with her hand and she started shaking with laughter. When I burst out very loudly, "What the fuck are you laughing at, honey?" When she says, "Hey Gurney, thanks for the food." I hadn't noticed that Gurney had been standing there with trays of food waiting for us to clear a space. I shut my mouth knowing she had heard what I had just said. I wanted to disappear. When Gurney says, "Here you folks go." Then I noticed that when Gurney left, she took a piece of paper off the tray. All I could do was stare at Honey, who finally stopped laughing and had a grin on her face, one that seemed like she was pleased with herself. We both thanked Gurney when she left. Then Honey burst out laughing. She says, "Oh my God, William, I kind of knew you were full of shit, damn. Do you feel better now that you got that off your mind? Too bad for Gurney, guess she won't be leaving you her number since you called me by name." I asked her, "What do you mean, Honey, that is your name?" Honey gives me a bone-chilling smile. "Yeah, but she doesn't know that." Then it hit me. You did that on purpose so she wouldn't hit on me. She shakes her head and rolls her eyes when she hands me a serving plate. Don't be that full of yourself. I didn't do it for just that reason. It was just an amusing benefit. I tell her. Then what was that all because I don't appreciate it? She tells me. William, I said your name 5 times while you were sinking to the bottom of your teacup. When I pushed your buttons, you pushed back. Which I didn't expect from you. I thought you would just take it, but you didn't. I asked her. So, you were testing me, why? At this point I was annoyed. I wanted to see how far I could push you. To see how well you bounce back. To wipe that look off your face. I started piling food onto my plate as well when a spark of annoyance hit, and I say, "Who the hell are you to question my skills and capabilities?" That was the worst answer I could have ever given Honey. When I looked up from my plate, Honey had this look on her face. It wasn't like the stone one she had on most of the time. It was a softer but serious look. She slides around to my side of the booth, almost touching but not. She talks quietly so nobody else could hear. "William." She leans on her hand with that look on her face. There was no way for me to look away when she called for my attention at this moment. "You've forgotten who I am, haven't you? I may look like your average teen, but I'm not. I'm the motherfucking team leader of everything you're about to take on. This operation is mine, and this work is mine. I came to Uncle Bruce, and he doesn't make a move without my say. Oh, he advises me, but I call the shots and take the risks. I'm an enslaved human being, William. That is not to beg you for your sympathy, it's just a fact of my life." I flinched when she said enslaved human. Honey holds up her hands so I can see. You may not see chains, but they are there. They are the lives of other people they give me that depend on me to live. I know what will happen if I don't return. I could walk right now, but I know what will happen to them if I can't find a better way. I can't seem to bring myself to save myself over them, not this time. So, I spy for 2 high-powered governments. For the last year and a half. You have just been handed the keys to my life and eventual freedom. Do you blame me for wanting to see how flexible you are without breaking, William? You are about to enter the darkest pit of humanity you have ever known. You think you're prepared, but you're not. You will hear things and see things. It will be the most ungratifying work you will ever do. It may have some benefits for you from this side. There will be days you ask yourself, why did I choose to do this? Other days will suck your soul out a little at a time. I say, desperately trying to be tougher than I was. Are you warning me? I stare right back at her, hoping to show more guts than I had. Yeah, William, because if you decided to back out now, I wouldn't call you a coward. Turn your stuff back over to Uncle Bruce. But if you earn my trust, back out, and run on me, I will hate you with a vengeance. If I survive, I will come to find you, and if I don't, I will haunt you till the day you die. I don't think I've ever been promised a more mincing threat in my life. I believed every word she spoke. Honey slides back to the other side of the table and starts eating. I sit there and let her words sink in, then I say, I'm sorry, if you don't think I can do this, I will step down. She shakes her head at me. Hey, don't do that, it's not up to me, that is up to you to decide for yourself. I am only here to give you a chance to leave if you want to. I wouldn't be here or get into your car. Heck, the moment you walked into Uncle Bruce's office, if I'd had any doubts, then I would have pulled you out by the time I hit the elevator. I saw that, you know. She smiled at me. A decent smile, like the kind that said I'm proud of myself. I am well aware that you saw me, William. I would have been very disappointed if you hadn't. Something inside me fluttered right in my gut when Honey smiled at me and said my name. It was such a bizarre feeling that I almost looked down at my body and said, what the hell is that? But I didn't, I just started stuffing my face. Ignoring whatever that might have been. Making up my mind with all she had to say. We eat silently for a time when I finally say, I promise you I will do this and I will become someone you can rely on. I can't say that I will be perfect, I am not capable of that, to warn you. But I will give you my best support. Both proficiently and thoughtfully, I hope that will do. Honey gives me one long stare when she says, all right, William, I will believe you, I have no reason to doubt you. So just don't give me one. I nod and we eat silently, thinking about what she has just told me. She was right, I had forgotten what Honey was. Now that I think about it, Beck's odd behavior towards her was starting to make more sense to me. Beck didn't just see her as an asset on a board. She was his team leader. That she was doing all of this on her own. If something were to go wrong on her end of things, it would cost her everything she was hoping for. It made me look at myself for a good long minute. It made me wonder what I have to complain about. I have a job that keeps me going, no real want for money, and I have more than most. I can't remember the last time there was something I wanted that I didn't get. Looking at Honey eat one plate full after another. Like she was starving, this person is being denied a basic human right. One I have never been denied in my life. A right I'm sworn to protect at all costs. I hope that I am there the day she reclaims her freedom. Honey doesn't seem like a creature that should be denied freedom. Honey says, don't think about me so sadly, William. I automatically responded with, how do you know I was thinking about you? Not conceited at all, are we? She chuckles at this. Oh, I am completely conceited, I know you're thinking about me. I just handed you something heavy to think about. Don't pity me, okay? I just want your respect as a person. I say. I wasn't trying to pity you, sympathize maybe, but not pity. Honey tells me. Sympathizing with me is a waste of your time, William. You could use that to get some work done. since you've wasted the last 3 days being stumped. My hand flew up to my chest and I spoke. Ouch, I do believe that hurt. Honey laughed and so did I. The rest of the time we spent in each other's company, throwing jabs at one another till we had our fill. While we were dividing the leftovers, Honey picked up the check while I wasn't looking. But I left a tip for Gurney, so I didn't feel too bad. Honey buttons herself back in her hoodie and mask. We got back into my car and I drove her to Great George Street next to a memorial park. I parked right next to the statue of Churchill. Waiting for her to leave, she unbuckles and turns to me. Thanks for the food, William, look forward to working with you. All I could say was, be safe, honey. She nods and leaves. I sit there watching her walk east to Westminster Bridge until I couldn't see her anymore. When I get back to my place, I start doing all the things I usually do when getting ready for sleep. I shower, change, and sometimes listen to music or read. Unlike normal, when I'm on my own, I usually had work on my mind. All the things I had to do the next day. But tonight, Honey was on my mind. Playing the moments and things she said to me when my phone rang. It's close to 10, so I wonder, but I shouldn't have. It was Beck, so I answer. Yes, sir, Beck replies. So, William, how was dinner tonight? I just shake my head when I say. Of course, you know. What do I know, William? That she showed up to school, my ass. Beck started laughing loud and long. When he finally stopped, he replied. Did she now? Well, did you learn anything, William? I say. I did. Trying to keep up with her is going to be a nightmare. Beck agreed. If that ain't the truth, she's going to keep you up late tonight. I told him. Of course, she has already called me stupid, slow, and wasteful basically. I told her I would have a message for her by the end of tomorrow. I swear I will have all 3 of them figured out. Beck says. She lit a fire under your ass, William. I told him. Yes, she did. She also warned me, Beck. Beck's tone changed. I have no doubt she did. How did it make you feel, William? I told him. At first completely livid, she even goaded me into blowing it at the pub. God, I could have evaporated right on the spot. Then I paused when I said. She got very real with me, Beck. He tells me. Me too, William, did you flinch? I told him. I did. He tells me. Me too. I say. Really? I was surprised he admitted it. Oh yes, I did, William. I say to Beck. We are going to have to do far better than best, Beck. He agrees with me. I will not tolerate anything less, William. Not for her. I tell Beck. I understand, sir, he says. Good, I'll be seeing you, William. I told him. Goodbye, Beck. The moment Beck was gone, I set myself up in a comfortable chair in my book room and started cracking on with it. I started sometime at 10. It was almost 3 in the morning when I got the first one and groaned when I thought about there being 2 more. I'd had no sleep and was in the middle of the second cipher. I couldn't stop to drive into work, so I called Brom and told him I was out in the field today. When I finally got the last one, after paying a teacher to help me organize the symbols in Cantonese from least to greatest used, I had what I needed, so I wrote what she says in a message. Then I added "got you." Within 10 seconds, she responded that knowing what I was doing I deciphered and laughed at what she said. Damn, William, I've been waiting all day for this, that's all. I know you can do better than that. You might want to go take a nap. You've been up all night and you're looking terrible. For a second, I looked around. I even checked my webcam to see if someone was using a back hack. There was nothing. I wrote back to Honey. You can't see me. Her message came and I deciphered it. Yeah, but I know I made you look. Night, William. All I could do was laugh. I was insanely tired, and she was right, because when I looked up it was dark outside and it was nearly 11 p.m. I thought, holy shit, it's going to be a long 8 months.